What is up, my Lorcana Goons? Welcome back to the Lorcana Goons channel. My name's Kevin, and today we have the finals of our Enchanted Mickey Trumpeteer Tournament. We host these Enchanted tournaments every Tuesday at Pele Cards and Games in Long Beach, California. So if you're in the SoCal area, feel free to hit me up. Come on down, ask for the details. This coming Tuesday, we have another one coming up for an Enchanted Sisu. We love doing these Enchanted tournaments because it does bring out the competitive players to the scene, which is pretty cool. And there's more than enough experience to go around. So I love seeing Lumineers battle it out. It was a 4-round tournament. It was only about 13 players, but hey, still pretty competitive in my opinion. And we're gonna get on into this. We actually have a Ruby Amethyst mirror match. I know, Ruby Amethyst boo, but both players are playing the same color combination, but decks are definitely a little bit different. One of the players focusing a little bit more on the location type variant, and another one focused more on the control aspect, going into the later game with some late game cards. So we have Zach and Jimmy who made it all the way to the finals, and we're gonna check out who wins this Enchanted Trumpet Mickey. All right. We have Zach on the bottom and Jimmy up top. Shout out Zach for using the starter deck lore tracker and the damage counters from the starter decks. Zach doing the ever iconic Ripple Shuffle. Zach is going to be playing more of a control variant. He's the bottom, Illumineer, and Jimmy up top is going to be using more of a location variant, handing off each other's decks to each other. Good sportsman-like practices. Make sure we get a good cut in. They're going to go ahead and do an even and odd situation. So Zach's gonna go first. Ooh, we can see that Zach opened up with like an Elsa, Monsters Dragon, some couple other late game cards. Ends up putting 5 cards to the bottom of his deck and picks up 5 for his mulligan. Jimmy looking like he's gonna keep a rabbit and a mini, I believe. No, he kept a Queen's Castle and a mini. He puts back both rabbits and puts back a Maui. Personally, I like keeping rabbit in my mulligan because I think rabbit's just so important in most matchups, if not the mirror match too. There goes Zach with that nice poker style Ripple Shuffle. Bam. I love that Ripple Shuffle. That's a cool shuffle. All right, well, let's see. Let's get on into this. Let's see which Illumineer is going to take the Enchanted Trumpet Mickey. It's looking like Zach opens up a rabbit. What was that? A fish hook, a Cusco, a couple other cards. Oh, yeah, he has rabbit, fox, snake, Cusco, fish hook, and I believe a Queen's Castle. Jimmy looking like he has Be Prepared in hand already. I think it's a Minnie Mouse, a Rafiki. There's a location in his hand. I can't see what location it is. Oh, Jimmy's actually going first. So Jimmy's going to ink an Agrabah and play a Rafiki. Zach goes ahead and draws for turn. He opens up with an inkable location, a Queen's Castle, and passes turn. Jimmy's going to ink his Minnie Mouse, quest with his Rafiki, giving him 1 lore. Then he bounces his Rafiki to play a snake. Jimmy's at 1. Zach's at 0. Zach inks another Queen's Castle and pays 2 to play a Cusco. Passes turn. Jimmy hits him with a Ink Yzma. And now he's going to play a Rafiki for 1. Quest with the snake, putting him at 2 lore. Zach's going to go ahead and draw for turn. He's going to quest with the Cusco. Gives him 1 lore. Inks a snake. Pays 3 for a fox and bounces the Cusco and then uses fox into the snake. Okay. Snake getting some value there. Clearing a 3 ink character. Jimmy readies his cards. He's going to ink a Jim Hawkins on his turn 4 and then plays a Queen's Castle location. That glare is not in our favor. Sorry about that, guys. He's going to quest for 1 with the Rafiki, putting him at 3 lore, and he passes turn. So Zach is going to ink a Cusco. He's at 4 ink now, and he uses the 4 ink to play a goat. Goat gives him a lore, puts him at 2. Castle gives him 2 lore at the beginning of the turn. Believe putting him at 4. And he quests again, puts him at 5. Alright, and then he plays a fox to bounce back his Rafiki. And he's going to play the Rafiki again with that last ink he has. And he inks another Rafiki. Actually inks the foil Rafiki and ends up moving the fox to the location there in hopes to give him some draw power next turn. We see Zach ink a friends on the other side, and he pays 3 ink for the fish hook. And then 2 ink to give his goat challenger +3 with the fish hook ability. So here we have Zach explaining to Jimmy that fish hook gives his goat challenger +3, letting him clear the castle in 1 swing. Wow, that's kind of intense. So Jimmy's turn. He's at 5 ink. Believe he's at 5 lore. Alright, ends up playing a Cusco for 2 ink. Uses the Fox to clear the Goat. Goat's gonna give Zach an extra lore. Jimmy's in a quest for 1. An extra lore right there with the Rafiki. Passes turn. Alright, a Minnie Mouse Surfer gets inked from Zach's side, and then he's gonna pay 4 ink for a Rabbit. Ooh, Rabbit draws a card. Yeah, Rabbit just too good. Rabbit's just too good, especially in the mirror match. When you start seeing Rabbits first and the opponent, I feel like you're in a good position. He's going to go ahead and use the last 2 ink that he has to give his Rabbit evasive until the start of his next turn. Isn't going to do much, obviously, because, you know, it's a readied Rabbit, but still. So he uses a Crab to ink, putting him at 6 ink. Then Madame Medusa is the Rabbit. Zach's going to draw a card off of his Rabbit. And then Jimmy's in a quest for 2 with the Cusco and the Rafiki. Zach draws for turn. Inks a mini, and there you go. Immediately plays the Be Prepared and passes turn. So Jimmy draws off the Cusco and draws for turn. We're going to see Jimmy ink a Jimbo Hawkins to play a Jimbo Hawkins. Does he have a location to follow up? Does not have a location. Just the Jimbo. Has to pass turn right after that. Now it's Zach's turn. Alright, ooh, now Zach ends up using the Queen's Castle on his side. Uses 4 ink to play that. He has 3 ink left. He's going to play a Pinocchio. He's just going to go ahead and pass. Does not move the Pinocchio to the location. Okay, now he's going to go ahead and use a Crab to pump his Jim Hawkins, and then Jimmy can use that Jim Hawkins with Challenger to clear the location. So I guess it didn't matter that he didn't move it, right? But that fishhook, yeah, that fishhook's going to be able to pay 2 ink to give Challenger plus 3 to the Pinocchio. That gives some extra value to that Pinocchio. Now you can clear the Jimbo. Ends up playing a Goat, gets a free lore, puts him at 4 lore. Jimmy's turn. Uses friends on the other side. I think he's contemplating whether or not he's going to sing it or not. And he ends up deciding to sing with the Crab. Friends on the other side. Draws 2 cards. Alright. Pays 2 to use a snake, bounces back his Crab. Uses 1 more ink to play a mini. It's the 1-drop mini. Jimmy looking like he only has 2 cards in hand left, though, after that play. One of those being the Crab that he just bounced. Alright, plays 3 ink to play a Crab. Passes turn. Zach is going to go ahead and use 6 ink here. Plays a Madame Medusa to eliminate the opposing Crab. Crab is mandatory, so he has to give one of the characters Challenger to the end of the turn, but doesn't really do anything in this scenario. He's going to ink a Fishhook. Quest with the Goat. And then use the last of his ink to give his Goat evasive. So now that Goat has evasive, that Snake cannot challenge the Goat. He has to have like an evasive character to get this Goat off the board, but don't think it's going to leave the board anytime soon. Okay, uses 3 ink to play an Agrabah. Gains 2 more lore. That Agrabah is just not going to survive here, because that Fishhook just gives Challenger plus 3 to these 4-drop characters, to these 4-strength characters, I mean. That's 7. That's 7 strength. Passes turn. It's Zach's turn now. Zach has a lot of pressure here with these 2 characters and Hook. He's going to go ahead and pay 5 ink for a Maui. Doesn't even need the Fishhook there. Just uses a Maui to get a clean trade. He's going to go ahead and... Now he doesn't have to pay the 2 ink, by the way, because Maui's on the board. That Fishhook is free. So he gives the evasive ability to his Medusa, uses it to clear a snake, and then uses his Goat, to clear the Minnie Mouse. Now Medusa has evasive. The Goat's still there for pressure. These Fishhooks are free, but here comes the Be Prepared from Jimmy. And pass turn. That's the only play he can do. Now it's Zach's turn again. He uses Rafiki and just passes. Okay, so just a Rafiki play pass. Then here comes down a Tremaine and a mini combo. Trying to play around maybe the opposing Tremaine, but Tremaine's not as popular in the format. Medusa can just clear the opposing Tremaine. And then he's going to pass turn with that. He actually gave evasive to his Medusa as well, just in case. Plays a mini, quests with a mini, and then plays a Fox to bounce it back and forth. Pass his turn. These guys are playing fast. They already know the plays they're doing. I believe Jimmy has no cards in hand either, so he's just top decking while Zach. Ooh, and then Zach hits him with an Elsa Spirit of Winter, which basically lets him clear the Minnie Mouse as well. Now, what did Jimmy draw? Jimmy's going to go ahead and play the Queen's Castle location, pays one more ink to move the Fox to the location, and just has to pass. It's his only play. It's his only card he has left. That fish hook's going to be able to give Elsa a +3. Now Elsa's 7 strength and can just clear the Queen's Castle. What an interesting interaction, man. That fish hook has been just getting infinite value. It uses the Medusa to clear the Fox. Plays a Fox to bounce the Elsa back. Oh my goodness. It's like having more than one Elsa now. Here comes another location. 3 ink for Agrabah, has to pass turn. But these locations are not surviving for Jimmy because that hook, that Maui's fish hook, is just gaining infinite value. He pays 4 ink, plays a rabbit, 2 ink to give his Fox Challenger +3, like we said, and then it just clears the Agrabah. Draws into a Cusco and plays the Cusco. Jimmy has to pass turn back to Zach after that. And then here comes down the Elsa again. Elsa's going to be able to exert that Cusco for a whole extra turn. And now Jimmy's just going to start questing. Puts him at 7 lore after he quests with both Fox and Rabbit. Here comes a snake from Jimmy. Bounces back his Cusco, plays it again. And has to pass turn back to Zach. Alright, Zach's going to ink a crab. Going to have 9 ink. Ooh, Maleficent Monstrous Dragon. Small target that it hits, but nonetheless adding a lot of pressure to the board. Gonna quest for 3, 4, 5 right there, putting him at 12. Are we gonna see another Be Prepared? Alright, he's gonna go ahead and use Cusco. Deal some little damage to draw an extra card. And it's a Be Prepared. He probably drew it off of the Cusco, otherwise I don't see why you would trade, you would kill the or murder your own Cusco for free like that. But he probably drew into off of that Cusco. So a little bit of confusion here. Rabbit is mandatory, so he forgot to draw off the rabbit. And then he plays another rabbit, so he's gonna draw again. Friendly Illumineers at our locals, by the way. No like hyper rule sharks that'll try and scum you out of that extra draw, even though it is mandatory. Go ahead and plays a goat, puts him at 13 lore, passes turn. So Jimmy's still at 7 ink, looking like he's been passing his ink turn because he's just been top decking, whereas Zach is already at 9 ink. He plays a Medusa to get rid of the rabbit. He's going to go ahead and draw a card off of the rabbit, and then uses the last of his ink to play a Rafiki. Another Maleficent Monstrous Dragon comes down to get rid of that Medusa. Wow. He inks a crab. He passes turn. Okay. Does not quest with the goat. So, ooh. Jimmy comes down with a goat of his own. Gains an extra lore. Decides to quest or not quest. He does not quest with the Rafiki. He passes turn back to Zach. Now Zach has locations of his own. He's going to pay 4 ink for the Queen's Castle, then 2 more ink to move both of his characters to the Queen's Castle. And then a Teeth and Ambitions comes down, dealing 2 damage to both Goat and the Rafiki, clearing the Rafiki, quests for 2 with the Monstrous Dragon, puts him at 15. And then he pays 2 more ink to give his Monstrous Dragon evasive. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's hard to get rid of the characters when you constantly give them evasive, right? Deciding whether or not to quest with Goat, but does not. He says he's playing around Tremaine. Makes sense, makes sense. He just wants to get this game over with. Looking like he's an advantage. So Jimmy's going to play a Maui to clear the location. Quest for 1 more with the Goat. But don't think it's enough, especially when Zach's already at 16 lore. Zach's going to pay 5 ink here for a Maui of his own. Ooh, and then a crab is going to come down, giving the challenger to his Goat. Maui can clear the opposing Goat for some value. Goat goes into the opposing Maui, puts him at 16. Quest for 2 puts him at 18. Then uses the last of his ink to give his Monstrous Dragon evasive again, playing around a top deck Maui, and it's looking like that's going to be enough for Jimmy to scoop it up. Zach's going to take game 1 with this control variant of Ruby Amethyst. Wow, playing 2 Monstrous Dragon, or it's looking like at least 2 Monstrous Dragon and an Elsa. All right, let's see who's going to take the next game. Game 2 coming up here. We got Zach at the bottom with that Ripple Shuffle, that iconic poker style Ripple Shuffle. Look at that. I need you guys' opinion on the way Zach is shuffling his deck. I love it. I think it looks so cool, but I probably wouldn't play any Enchanteds in my deck or any foils in my deck if I was shuffling like that. And by the way, he only shuffles his deck like that, does not shuffle the opponent's deck. We did ask him. At least 2 Maleficent Monstrous Dragon and Elsa. I will showcase the deck list of the winner at the end of this video. Alright, so Jimmy's going to go ahead and go first. We see a double Maui, friends. What is that? A crab, an Agrabah, and a fox. I believe it's a Minnie Mouse too. Yeah, he has a Minnie Mouse. So he keeps the Minnie in hand. Let's see. Can't really see Zach's hand. So it's looking like Jimmy's going to go ahead and mulligan 5 cards away. Probably kept the Minnie Mouse and maybe a Maui or something. Zach's going to keep 3 cards and put back 4. Looking like he put back maybe a Tremaine and some other cards. I really got to learn how to shuffle like that. That's just a flex. That's a flex right there. If you're shuffling your cards like that, that's a flex. Alright, both players handing each other the deck, respectively, giving a nice cut. And we're going to start off. Jimmy's going to go ahead and ink a mini, play a mini, pass turn. Zach draws his hand, looking like he has an Olaf, a Monstrous Dragon. I saw a beat prepared there. They're thinking. He's going to ink a Teeth and Ambitions, play an Olaf. Yeah, there's a Minnie Mouse Surfer, a Monstrous Dragon, a couple other cards in Zach's hand. We see a crab. I think there's a goat there too. Okay, there's a friends on the other side that gets inked, and then Jimmy goes ahead and plays another mini. Wow, so he opened up 3 minis. Ink a mini, play 2 minis. Alright, so they're both at 1 lore now because Zach's going to start off his turn by questing with Olaf. Bounces back to Snake after inking a goat. Jimmy's turn. He's back up here readying his characters. He's going to ink a Maui. He's going to play a friends on the other side, draw 2. Does not have a 3-drop character is what it's looking like. He's going to quest with both minis, putting him at 3 lore. Zach draws for turn. He's going to ink an Olaf. Go ahead and play a Minnie Mouse Surfer. And then uses a snake to get some value there by destroying a Minnie Mouse. Putting it in the discard pile. Jimmy's turn. He draws for turn. He inks an Agrabah. And plays a crab. He's going to use crab to give his mini challenger. And then make a nice trade into that snake. And pass his turn back to Zach. Zach's going to ink a Minnie Mouse of his own. The 1-drop mini. He has 4 ink now. Let's see if we see a rabbit. Oh no, he's going to sing friends on the other side with the Minnie Mouse Surfer. And then uses 4 lore to play a Cusco. Sorry, 3 lore to play a Cusco and a Rafiki. Rafiki's kind of threatening here because it'll actually just knock out that crab, which is kind of crazy. So Jimmy inks a fox. And then plays Jim Hawkins for 5. And a free location, and it moves the Jim Hawkins there for free. Once again, sorry about that glare, but that's a pretty strong play. But if Zach has a crab or a Maui's fishhook, this is going to be really tough because that Rafiki is going to be able to be able to deal 3 damage to the location. And that's what's happening. Rafiki goes into the location, deals 3 damage, pays 3 ink here. Oh, for a fox instead. There you go. Fox is going to bounce to Rafiki. Finish off that location in 1 blow with the Rafiki plus fox combo. Inks the Rafiki. Quest for 2 off of the Minnie Mouse Surfer. Putting both of these players at 3 lore. Jimmy's going to ink a foil Rafiki. Play a goat for 4 ink there. Going to gain a lore, putting him at 4. The crab is still sitting there. Going to trade into the fox. And now his Jim Hawkins is going to get him 2 extra lore, putting him at 6. Zach inks a Teeth and Ambitions, uses 3 ink, plays a Crab. Ooh, Crab's gonna pump up the Cusco, clear the Jimbo, and draws a card off of that Cusco. And then he's gonna get to 5 lore with the Minnie Mouse Surfer. This Minnie Mouse Surfer seeing a lot of value in this mirror match. Passes turn back to Jimmy. Jimmy only has a few cards in hand. It's looking like 2 cards in hand specifically. Go ahead. He's going to go ahead and play the Madame Medusa, getting rid of the Minnie Mouse Surfer, which was expected. At some point, right, he's going to quest for 1, putting him at 7 with the goat. But Jimmy only has 1 card in hand, and I think I saw a Be Prepared. So it's not really the card you want to see right now. I think you want to see a rabbit. Another Friends on the other side gets played by Zach here. Does not sing the Crab, though. Actually just goes ahead and plays it for 3, and then uses a goat. Puts him at 6 lore to Jimmy 7. Then the Crab's going to go ahead and trade into the goat. Puts Jimmy at 8 lore. That's why he didn't sing it. He wanted to clear the goat with the Crab. And now we have a location coming down for 4 ink. Pays 1 more ink. That's 5 total to move his Madame Medusa to the Queen's Castle location in hopes to draw a card. Another Crab comes down. That Crab, man. The Challenger plus 3 doing a lot in this mirror match right here, whether it be the Crab or the fish hooks. But man, that goat just cleared the location. The foxes and the Rafikis cleared the location. The last game goat cleared the location with this combo. That's crazy. Jimmy's locations are not getting any value in this matchup. Madame Medusa is going to quest for 1, putting Jimmy at 9. A fox comes down, bouncing back the Medusa. Jimmy did not ink this turn. He's still at 6 ink. Zach has been inking every turn. He's already at 7. I think he might have skipped ink twice, actually, because Zach went 2nd. So he's at 7 ink already. He's at 2nd, and Jimmy's still at 6. Zach's going to go ahead and quest for 2, putting him at 8 lore to Jimmy's 9. Alright, he inks a Crab. Pays, how much is that? Ooh, here comes the Elsa Spirit of Winter again. 8 ink right there. Some very much needed pressure. Gonna stop the fox for a whole turn. Let's see if Jimmy has the ink, because I know I saw a Be Prepared in his hand, but he's just been stuck at 6 ink. Alright, he uses 3 ink to go Friends on the other side. Decides to not ink it, to draw 2 instead. And plays a Cusco for 2. And still doesn't ink this turn. Jimmy has been stuck at 6 ink for about 3 turns now. Now here comes another Friends on the other side from Zach. That's the 3rd one we've seen this game. Gonna go ahead and use the Crab to trade into the Fox. And then he's gonna go all the way to 12 lore, questing for 4 here. Putting him at 12 to Jimmy's 9. Still at 6 ink. He's going to go ahead and use the Cusco to bump the Elsa. We saw this last game. Not looking good. Not the best play you want to be doing. And then go ahead. He's going to go ahead and play a Rabbit for 4 ink. At least he saw a Rabbit this time. Inks the Jimbo Hawkins and just has to pass. Oh my gosh. At this point, man, that's 4 more lore here. Ooh, man, yeah. Zach's going to go all the way to 16 lore already. There's a goat on there, so that goat's potentially 17 lore. Plays a snake, bounces back the Elsa, does not decide to bounce back the goat. Bouncing back the goat could have potentially put him at 18, but hey, that Elsa, man, that Elsa just putting in work. Because that girl quest for 3. Is it an Inca Surfer mini and pass turn? Jimmy's still at 9 lore. Zach's already at 16. Now, what are we going to see come down from Jimmy's end? He's going to quest for 1, and he plays a Be Prepared. That's not where you want to see Be Prepared here, man. I'm pretty sure he had it that whole time. It's just that he wasn't drawing Inkables is what it's looking like. And the Inkables he did draw were like Friends and Cusco's, you know, so he was probably trying to draw into his resources. But man, that was rough. Be Prepared last turn would have been the move, but doesn't seem like it was happening. Maybe he drew the Jim Hawkins that he inked off the Rabbit. And now Zach's turn. He's going to go ahead and just add some pressure with a Maui and a Rafiki. He's at 17 lore, by the way, because of the goat. Jimmy's still at 9. Jimmy's looking like he has a decent-sized hand. Starts off with a Medusa. Gets rid of the Rafiki. 6 ink right there. Does not have anything else to follow up, though, because he only has 7 ink left. Zach's playing here with 9 ink. which is a very big deal. To 2 ink difference. We know Zach has the Elsa too, so that Elsa is going to threaten lethal. But he decides to play a Maleficent Monstrous Dragon instead for 9 ink to clear the Medusa. And then another Be Prepared comes down from Jimmy, clearing the board, trying to keep him away from that lethal area, but Jimmy's still only 7 ink. That's his whole turn. Zach draws for turn. Ooh, here comes the locations from Zach. Plays a Queen's Castle and a Fishhook. He's going to pass turn there. And there we go. They're talking about how Zach just drew the location this turn, explaining that he would have played it earlier if he had it. And now he's trying to secure the game. Jimmy gonna be using his rabbit to draw some more cards here. Plays a fox to bounce back the rabbit. Is it enough though? Doesn't seem like it's enough. It's looking like that location is gonna stick around for another turn. That's gonna put him at 19 lore. He's going to go ahead and challenge it, but cannot clear it this turn. And there you go. Zach's going to start off his turn, readying his cards. Gains that 2 lore, puts him at 19 lore. It's looking like this might be the end for Jimmy. Another Maleficent Monstrous Dragon. These games are just panning out the exact same way for Zach here. Once you get to that, like, you know, the later game and you start threatening the board with these big old characters, if the location deck can't get rid of them, it becomes a problem. This is looking like the last turn for Jimmy. He has to clear the location, he has to clear the dragon, and he has to hope that Zach does not draw a goat to finish the game off. And Jimmy's only at 9 lore. And there's the handshake. Jimmy's going to scoop it up. Zachary's going to take it. First place Enchanted Tournament. Ruby Amethyst controlled. Awesome to see some great players. Shout out Jimmy. Shout out Zach. You guys are good. You guys know what you're doing. It's just looking like Zach's build was a little bit more catered to the mirror match. Not playing the Jim Hawkins. Jimmy did let me know, by the way, that he was playing Agrabah because he does not have his copies of RLS Legacy yet. But in general, he just likes that it's inkable. But man, Zach's deck was just looking like it was taking care of every location. Not a problem for this build of Ruby Amethyst. But this is a list right here that Zach was playing. He actually told me that he took this list from the first place winner of the Tier 1 Games 1K event that happened in Southern California too. The winner of that event was Shane Downey. Shout out you, by the way. Shane Downey's an awesome player from the SoCal area. He sent me his list as well. And Zach let me know that they were playing the exact same list, or he used that list for this Enchanted tournament. And this list is looking pretty nice. Like I said, it's more of a control variant. It's only playing 2 Maleficent Monstrous Dragon and 1 Elsa Spirit of Winter though. But man, we have 3 crabs, we have 2 of the Pinocchio Talkative Puppet, that's very control based, and then we have 2 of the Maui's Fishhook. Man, we saw how impactful that Maui's Fishhook was in game 1. It was just getting free value. He played it early in the game, and it looked like every other turn he was either giving challenger to his characters, or he was using the evasive ability to make sure his cards like Goat, Maleficent Dragon, they were just not leaving the field. So that was pretty awesome. It's looking like we're also playing the 4 copies of Queen's Castle, but no Jim Hawkins or none of that, just the Queen's Castle. Like I said in other videos before, Queen's Castle is just like a better version of Spellbook. You don't have to play Spellbook anymore when you can just play 4 Queen's Castle that are inkable, and you just see them in the later game. Only 3 Minnie Mouse Surfers. We have 2 Cuscos and the 4 Rafiki. So your 1-drops are 3 Olaf, 4 Rafiki. I like to see that in general. I think you play Olaf over Mini if you're doing this kind of ratio, because you have way more Amethyst inkable cards in your deck. So there's no reason to play a Ruby 1-drop that has the same stat line as like Olaf, because if you're actually playing against the opponent in real life, there's a scenario where you're going to have to ink certain cards, and if you're going to have to ink an Olaf and play a Rafiki, your opponent doesn't know what other color you're playing yet, but if you ink a Mini and play Rafiki, they know you're playing Ruby Amethyst, so you definitely don't want to reveal unnecessary information to the opponent. And we have 3 Teeth and Ambitions, the 4 Maui, the 3 Medusa, and the 4 Be Prepared. We're also playing the foxes, the rabbits, the snakes, and the goats. You know, classic Ruby Amethyst. I like this list a lot, but yeah, shout out to you guys. Shout out Zach for winning the first place Mickey Trumpeteer Enchanted tournament of the Inklands. It is the first one we do for the Inklands format, and if you guys like these tournaments, I'm going to be trying to record the finals for every tournament we do. We do these every Tuesday. This coming Tuesday we have a Sisu tournament, so stick around for that video. But until then, remember to stay tuned to Lorcana Goons, and we'll see you goons next time.